Hey everybody, welcome back to Reaction Reviews. This is Kevin. We've got a little guest with us today for our reaction video. This is Baby, and Baby is probably the most affectionate kitten in the entire world. The most affectionate kitten that I've ever seen. Growing up on a farm, we had lots of cats growing up. They were all barn cats. None of them ever came inside. We always, they slept in the barn or around the farm, different places. Every once in a while, you'd have one that we would let come inside just for a little bit. Dad would let us cheat sometimes and bring one or two of the kittens in. But by and far, these were farm cats, and they didn't stay inside. Well, this one, I mean, we had a lot of cats. At one point, we had like probably 27 cats, I think, at one point. And so we've had a lot of them. But look at this one. Look at Baby. She just climbs all over you, rubs up to you. Hey, baby. Whenever I come home, she just comes running down to the van. And that can be dangerous, though, for cats and for any pet, really. Risk of getting run over if you're not careful. You got to watch for them. In fact, whenever I leave here, I go start my vehicle, I always honk the horn, make sure that they're not up inside the motor. Because if it's like a cold day or something, or a cold night, they like to crawl up underneath the hood of the car where it's warm, and sometimes they could get into trouble that way if you take off too quick and they don't have time to wake up and get out of there, realize that there's danger. But anyway, this is Baby here with us today while I do my reaction, and I just wanted to introduce you real quick to her. Anyway, what we're reacting to today, and again, you will not see the video on the screen due to copyright. I'll be reacting to it on this device, and then if you want to watch the original video, you can go to the link down in the description. Today we're watching the trailer that Disney Plus just put out for Jim Henson Idea Man. This is a new documentary that they're putting out on Disney Plus, and Ron Howard is directing it. So that's pretty cool. Ron Howard, for those of you that don't know, originally known as Ronnie Howard. Boy, she's shedding a lot. Boy, got hair all over me. But Ronnie Howard was, he played Opie Taylor, Andy Griffith's son on the Andy Griffith Show. Back in the, I think it was late 50s it started and went into the 60s. And then grew up in the family. His father was Rance Howard. He had a little brother named, and Rance Howard's in a lot of stuff, supporting actor. Even today, Rance Howard is still putting out movies. But he was big. One of these people that you didn't really know who he was because he was always behind the scenes, but he was in a lot of stuff. But if you saw his face, you'd probably recognize him. And then Ron's younger brother, Clint Howard, was, for those of us that are into sci-fi, he played Balak in the original Star Trek TV series with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. The episode where they met the spacecraft that was shaped like a cube, and it was like spinning in space. I can't remember the name of the title of the episode now, but he played the alien character in that episode. That was Ron Howard's little brother, Clint Howard, and he's in a lot of stuff today, these days. He was in. He was a supporting character in Apollo 13. Have you ever seen that movie? Great movie with Tom Hanks, all-star cast. But he was a supporting character in that. But anyway, this is Ron Howard, the oldest of the brothers, the one that was on Andy Griffith's show. He ended up becoming a phenomenal director. In fact, I think he directed Apollo 13. He directed a lot of great movies back in the 90s and did he direct anything? I don't know if he directed anything in the 80s or not, but the 90s and 2000s, he ended up becoming a big director. But anyway, he's directing this documentary, and it's streaming on Disney Plus starting on May 31st. So here's the trailer on YouTube, and again, the link is in the description below. Here's the description I'll read to you. It says, Jim Henson Idea Man, that's the name of the documentary, takes us into the mind of this singular creative visionary from his early years puppeteering on local television to the worldwide success of Sesame Street, The Muppet Show, and beyond. And those of you that are my generation, maybe you grew up watching Sesame Street or The Muppets. I didn't really watch Sesame Street because we didn't get cable TV when I was a kid. We just got one channel. It was in black and white. And sometimes when the weather was bad, you could get a second channel coming in real faintly in the background, all fuzzy and stuff. And we'd alternate between those. It was Channel 5 CBS, WDTV out of Weston, Clarksburg, West Virginia. And I still remember that to this day. I was just a kid when we watched that, but I still remember because back then they advertised their TV station stuff. You watched the local news and everything. But anyway, the other channel that we occasionally got was Channel 12, and I think it was ABC and maybe it was NBC. I'm not sure. Anyway, Channel 12 and Channel 5 is all we got. It's just two stations. And so I didn't get to watch Sesame Street on PBS because we didn't get PBS. But when we would go to visit our godparents, our godmother and godfather in town, they had cable TV. So when we go over there, we watch Sesame Street and other shows also that we couldn't get here. Watch the original Star Trek in reruns because that was in the late 70s and early 80s. And of course, they were in reruns by then. But anyway, we did grow up watching the Muppets. The Muppet movie, Muppets Take Manhattan. There's a third one, Great Muppet Caper, and there were others beyond that. But those were the three big ones when we were kids. And then when I became an adult, then there were other ones that followed as well. But I always loved the Muppets. And then in the 80s, there was the Muppet Babies Saturday morning cartoon show. That was on CBS, and I would get up early in the morning on Saturday morning, set my alarm to get up and watch G.I. Joe, a real American hero, and that was the first one that was on when the TV first came on, and then after that there were some other shows, and one of the ones that I always watched was Muppet Babies. And the thing I loved about the Muppets not only was the crazy and inventive puppets, but the music aspect of it. They had music throughout the whole thing. The characters sang. The Muppet movie, had the song "The Rainbow Connection." That's where that song comes from, and it got to the point to where I had a handheld cassette player and recorder that my parents had bought me for my birthday, I think, one year, or maybe it was Christmas, I don't know. But I had that, and I would set that in front of the TV and record the Muppets on it because they would have the songs, and then I would just go back and play that cassette over and over again with those songs and memorize all the Muppet songs. And so that's how I learned the Rainbow Connection and the Muppet Babies songs that were on Saturday mornings. I'd tape them and then listen to them later. And my mom and dad was like, "You're crazy! Like, why are you recording the TV?" And I was like, "Because they got the songs on there, and I want to hear the songs over again, just like you'd want to hear a song on the radio again." But anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail. I want to concentrate on the video here. We're going to watch I'm going to react to it here in a second. But Jim Henson created Sesame Street and the Muppets, and also many others. Let's see, it says, featuring unprecedented access to Jim's personal archives, Howard, that's Ron Howard, brings us a fascinating and insightful look at a complex man whose boundless imagination inspired the world. Okay, so that's the description here on the YouTube description for the trailer. And, beyond the Muppets and, Star Wars fans, Yoda was Jim Henson's Muppet, the original. And, of course, when you go back to the prequels, they got into the CGI and stuff. But in the original trilogy, it was actually a puppet that Jim Henson created and voiced by Frank Oz, who was Jim Henson's right-hand man. I'll talk a little bit about this later on, too. But anyway, Jim Henson, Frank Oz, great pair, worked together, great team, and all this stuff. Miss Piggy, the voice of Miss Piggy was Frank Oz, same guy that did Yoda, and a bunch of other characters. And Jim Henson was the voice of Kermit the Frog before he passed away. And then they had someone else take over. I forget the name of the guy. I know it, but I can't think of it. The guy that took over voicing Kermit. But anyway, yeah, total icon. I grew up loving Jim Henson and Frank Oz and the world, the universe they created. Even recently, within the last 10 years, they did reboot of The Dark Crystal, when they went back and did the prequel series on Disney Plus. and I watched that. That was really good. I was surprised. They did a good job with the that series. And so if you get a chance to watch it on Disney Plus, you might check it out too. But it's a prequel to the Dark Crystal movie, and the Dark Crystal was all puppets, and that was puppets that Jim Henson's workshop created. So lots of stuff. Anytime there's puppets out there, you can be sure that Jim Henson either had a hand in it or the people that did it was inspired by him. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer. Jim Henson, Idea Man from Disney Plus. All right, and we'll hit play.
Hello there. My name is Jim Henson, and I'm a puppeteer. Sesame Street.
Okay, it shows Big Bird, how he did the Big Bird, hand like this.
Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Jim,
Oh yeah,
of innocence.
the Labyrinth.
Good.
I forgot about the Labyrinth he did. From Academy Award winner Ron Howard. There he is, that's Jim. Rainbow Connection. I love that song. Oh, the vintage footage.
From a very early age, he had the feeling that he was here for a purpose.
Characters come
I like that.
in many different ways. It was my mother's coat and a ping pong ball. That's how it all started. He had so many
Ping pong balls for Kermit's eyes.
his inner life.
And one of his mother's old outfits for the fur.
The space he gave to
That's
expression,
creativity.
imagination. I see
There's
that
Sesame
in
Street.
everything that he did.
There's the girl from the Labyrinth, Jennifer something. Oh, the little girl. I remember seeing that before. The little girl gave Kermit the kiss.
There was nothing that Jim
Nothing to hide.
Everything was getting a little bit bigger.
Becoming famous was
The huge float in the parade.
There was an innocence getting lost. Was going to impact his relationship with us and everything that was complex.
He wanted to do more than is humanly possible.
That idea that time could run out was just unthinkable. If Jim was here,
Going to get emotional. Time running out.
I just have to thank him.
I think that was Frank right there. Father, friend, innovator, visionary, legend, icon. Streaming May 31st, only on Disney Plus.
Hello there. My name is Jim Henson, and I'm a puppeteer.
Okay, that's playing again. All right, yeah. I'm sorry. Getting a little emotional there. The idea of time running out. I can relate to that. I'm from a generation now. I'm getting older. I'm 50 years old this year, and my body is feeling it. I aged quite a bit in the last couple of years. In fact, if you go back and watch some of my old videos when I first started this channel, I've got the gray beard now. I gained a few pounds. I walk with a cane now. I don't need it all the time, but I do need it to help me get upstairs sometimes. And I've got back problems and everything. I can feel my age catching up with me, and just as a person myself, that I've always wanted to make a difference in the world. That's just been my whole outlook on life. As a Christian, that's why I became a minister. It's every kind of job I had, even if it wasn't a ministry per se, a Christian ministry sort of thing. I always wanted to have my job be something to where I felt like I was actually helping to change the world, to make it a better place. And I hope that I have accomplished that in some ways. That when I'm long gone, I don't have to be famous like Jim Henson or anything like that. My videos here online, it doesn't really matter to me if 100 people see them or 1,000, or if nobody ever sees these videos. But I would like to think that I have impacted people's lives for the better, whether it be 2 million people or 2 people. And that's what my life, I think, that's what I want my life to be all about. When I'm gone and people look back on my life and the life I led, hopefully, um, I will have helped to impact the world in a positive way. Jim Henson was that kind of man, and I think they're going to get into that in this documentary. I'm definitely going to go see it. I definitely going to watch it on Disney Plus as soon as it comes out. Um, Jim Henson and Frank Oz have been influential on my life, on my career. You know, not just a musician, but my ministry that I've done. I mentioned in I think it was this past weekend's video, my live stream, that about little over 10 years ago, I was involved in a puppet company, and we put out a pilot episode and episode number one, which was two episodes back to back. We filmed for a children's TV show which heavily featured puppets, and I got to write the music for the show, and I got to have a walk-on role as a recurring character, and so the pilot never took off. Nobody ever purchased it in order to market it for the public to see. But if it had taken off, then I would have had a recurring role on that each week as the guy that comes out and shares the music with the kids. And the whole idea behind it was sort of the Jim Henson type of thing that they say here in this trailer, that he was not only a visionary wanting to put out quality entertainment, which is obviously a part of it, but he wanted to tap into that innocence of childhood and let kids be kids, sort of thing. Now, of course, you get into the Muppet Show, and some of their shows a little bit racy at points, especially the newer versions of it that they come out with. I think ABC did a reboot maybe 10, 15 years ago of the Muppet Show that was even racier, quite a bit racy, and so I didn't watch it regularly. I think I watched maybe the first couple episodes of it, and that was it. But the original Muppet Show, when it was on CBS, originally it was on, I think, ITV, which was a bit British channel. And then when they brought it to the United States, I think CBS did it. And they rebroadcast the British versions, British episodes, and then they continued making episodes for CBS. But back then, every once in a while, there'd be a little bit of humor that was a little bit risque. But it was all over your head sort of thing that the kids, it would go over the kids' heads. And every once in a while, an adult would catch on the subtle humor that was just slightly racy, but it was nothing like the way programming is now, what gets by for kids programming. So when we decided to do that TV show, the puppet show, we wanted to get back to the stuff even before Jim Henson. Like you think of Captain Kangaroo, the wholesome stuff like that, or Sherry and Lamb Chop, that sort of thing, like from the 50s. Howdy Doody, the kind of stuff that our parents and grandparents grew up with, that there was nothing racy at all about it. It was all innocent children's stuff. You let kids be kids in it. And that was the whole vision behind Cousin Ed's Front Porch, was the name of the show that we were doing. But anyway, when the director was we were signing all the paperwork and stuff for it. He suggested that we come up with stage names, a lot of us, and a lot of us did that. We came up with our own stage names, and I came up with the name L. Frank Christian, and I'll get into sometime maybe some other place, some other time, explain what that all goes to. But part of that is the Frank is a reference to L. Frank Baum, who was the writer of The Wizard of Oz, the original books. And also it was in honor of Frank Oz, who was Jim Henson's right-hand man. And Sean, the guy who was my Jim Henson, he was the guy that created the show and invited me to write the music for it and wrote the walk-on role for me. I considered him to be my Jim Henson, and he considered me to be his Frank Oz, his right-hand man. So when I went by the name L. Frank Christian as my stage name, that was a nod to Frank Oz as being one of the people who inspired me, particularly in puppetry and in children's programming and that clean, wholesome type of thing to where you're entertainment for kids. Anyway, um, I'll just say a few more words, and I'll get back to the Jim Henson thing. But if you guys want to watch my food reviews and mukbangs, I do a live stream on Sunday afternoons at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I have never had a guest on my live stream. I just do it myself. I eat the food, and we talk afterwards about different subjects, just whatever comes up. We start talking about food, but there's only so much you can say about food, and different ideas come up and stuff. And I do these reaction videos here, and so sometimes I'll talk about that. Well, this weekend, I'm going to try to get Sean Ayers, who is my Jim Henson that I just mentioned, the guy that got me involved in that puppetry, into puppetry and into that TV show. I'm going to see if he's out of town. He's in Central Time and I'm in Eastern Time. But I'm going to see if he can come on live with me and we can stream together. I'm going to do my regular food review, and it's probably going to be pizza this weekend. I've got a place lined up where I think I'm going to go. But when we get to the point to where we just have our chat at the end, I'm going to try to have Sean come on with me if we can figure out how to do it. Because I've never done the live chat with somebody else before. So it might take us a little bit to figure out the technology. But if you join us this coming Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Sean may be on there with me, and we'll be discussing more about this trailer that I just reacted to. Because I think that's something that he might have a few things to say about, as Jim Henson inspired him in large part also. But yeah, looks like a great trailer to me. You can tell it made me emotional when it started talking about him, losing time. Time run out. And of course, if you know anything about Jim Henson, he passed away young. He had that great legacy that he left behind, but it's like he had so much more that he probably wanted to accomplish with his life, and so much more that he wanted to do. And so that's why I'm encouraged for him to see the impact that he has on the world, and that he has left a legacy behind, and people do remember him for the good stuff he's done. We all do good things, we do bad things, but hopefully the world remembers us for more of the good we do than the bad we do. But anyway, I just I hope the world, when people watch this documentary, that my generation, they're gonna watch it, and some people are gonna get emotional like I did there, and to think of him running out of time, doing what he felt was his calling in life. Also, there was this Dennis Quaid movie that I was just watching the other night. It's called The Hill, and it just came out. I think it was last year, 2023. It came out, but it's a sports movie. It's a biography, a true story about a guy that was a designated hitter in Major League Baseball back in the 70s. I forget his first name. His last name is Hill, and Dennis Quaid plays his father, who is a minister, and the boy grew up with a disability with his legs, and he dreamed of being in Major League Baseball. If you get a chance to watch it sometime, check it out. It's called The Hill, Hill, and it's Dennis Quaid plays the starring role in it. But in the movie, it deals with the boy wanted to impact the world. His father's dream for him was that he would become a minister, and he would impact the world that way. And the boy's dream was to be in Major League Baseball. And he told his dad, he said, it's like, my dad just doesn't understand me. And I think all of us at some point, especially those of us, I talked in my message last weekend at church about the black sheep of the family, talking about Joseph in the Old Testament. Joseph was the black sheep among his brothers, and young David ended up being King David. He is the black sheep among his brothers in the family. A lot of us that are considered to be the black sheep of our family, as I think I was in large part in my family. My family is a family of farmers. Both my brothers loved being outdoorsy, exercising, working on the farm, doing that kind of stuff. I was always the indoorsy, musical, kind of bookwormish type person, the nerd sort of thing. And so I was almost like a black sheep of the family. I felt like this character in the movie The Hill that played the son is his father wanted him to become a minister, and that way he could impact the world in a positive way. And the boy said, "My dad just doesn't understand me." He said, "I want the same thing. I want to impact the world too." He knew his Bible. He was taught from a young age. His father taught him well, but he dreamed of becoming a Major League Baseball player. And partially because of his disability, his father didn't want him to be let down, to dream too big and then be disappointed when he was unable to fulfill those dreams. He wanted to protect him from that disappointment. And a lot of us as parents are like that sometimes. But I try to always encourage my daughter to reach for the stars. Whatever you dream big. And if you have that dream, then I'll do whatever I can to help you accomplish that. If you can dream it, you can do it, sort of thing. And it's like that. My philosophy is, the Bible says that without God we are nothing, but with God all things are possible. And so, basically, in the story, the boy was a miracle. He didn't just get a miracle; he was a miracle. And the guy that discovered him, the farmer, that the boy broke his window playing baseball by hitting the ball just so far that it was amazing. He couldn't believe he hit it that far. And instead of the boy getting in trouble for it, he stood up for what he did and acknowledged it, and admitted that he did wrong by breaking the window. And instead of punishing the guy, he said, "Someday you're going to be a star, and when you do, I want to be first in line to buy a ticket to see you play baseball." And of course, everybody else says, we called him Robot Boy, because he had the metal braces on his legs and stuff. They teased him and mocked him, saying, "You'll never be in baseball." His own father didn't understand his dreams and kind of sold him short on those. But he dreamed that he was going to do it, and he stuck to it. And the thing about the ministry was, he told his dad, he said, "I want to change the world too, but I want to do this. I want to do both. I want to change the world for Jesus, and I also want to I want to play baseball." And so he found a way to witness to the world through baseball. And it's just a fantastic movie and a fantastic message for myself as a parent, and for any parents out there, to realize that, not to try to make your kids live your dreams. Let them have their own dreams. You support them in whatever their dreams are. And I was so proud when my daughter started following my footsteps in a lot of ways. She likes music. She loves dancing. I was never big on dancing, but that's an aspect of music. I got into filmmaking and that kind of stuff. And she's studying filmmaking in college. Like I said before, she's graduating from college next month and going into filmmaking and broadcasting. And basically, she's learned all the stuff basically that I learned when I was going into that sort of stuff, and more. All the stuff that I dreamed of doing, and I just barely scratched the surface. I think she's going to be able to go far beyond anything I ever could, and I'm so proud of her for that. And so I'm not going to stand in her way. Her dreams may not exactly be mine. With my band, in the early days, we had our band, and I used to dream that our kids, our band members, our kids would one day take over the band and start their own band and continue where we left off. Never worked out. A couple of our band members, our kids, actually all our kids are pretty much musical, I think, but in different ways. Like my daughter's more interested in the dance. Our bass player, his kids are they enjoy music, but I don't think they're really interested in starting a band or anything like that. Our drummer Scott, his son plays guitar, and he. I'm not going to go into the detail here, but I'll introduce you to him hopefully sometime also. Great kid, but he's learning how to play some of our band's old songs. And the other day he had me write up some lead sheets for him. So that's a surprise. I'm not going to spoil it here, but we'll get into that some other time. But anyway, I've been rattling on for quite a bit here. This is going to be a long video. But anyway, yeah, all this to say Jim Henson was a visionary. He was a man with a dream. And I really enjoyed the trailer, and I'll definitely be seeing it. Comment down below. Are you guys going to see it? Did you grow up with any of Jim Henson's stuff? You think of the Muppets as the obvious one, Sesame Street. Then there was the Dark Crystal, and of course the spin-offs they did from that. There was the Labyrinth, which David Bowie did the music in it and played the villain. And Jennifer, I'm trying to think of the girl's name that played the main character. I want to say Jennifer something. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about, those of you that have seen it. That was Jim Henson. Star Wars, you know, they used Jim Henson Muppets with Yoda and all that. It just shows how big his universe, his influence is. So how were you influenced by him growing up? What was some of his stuff that impacted you? Are you going to see this? Are you interested in seeing this documentary? I'm not a huge documentary type person, but every once in a while, one will come out that really interests me, and this one I definitely want to see. So comment that down below. Any observations you have about it, and then hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Subscribe to the channel, and come back on the weekends for our live streams so you can chat with us live. But most of all, thank you guys for watching. I enjoy sharing this content with you, and I hope you enjoy watching it. Anyway, this weekend, Sunday, I'll be talking a little bit more about Jim Henson, about this video, after we do our food review and mukbang at 2 p.m. And hopefully Sean will be on there to give his 2 cents worth as well. Anyway, you guys have a great week. We'll see you in a few days. God bless. Bye.